Only when the true reason to your sufferings become known, the road to healing becomes clear. That's a saying we use a lot in my Ayurvedic school, because we believe with the right intentions, you are your own best healing. Most illnesses come from inside. Mental diagnosis, ischemia, even some cancer types are reactions inside from your body, based on how you're living physically and mentally. I have even once had surgery to remove a cancer node, so I know what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking for own personal experiences. And after this episode of my life is where I started to say that if you don't listen to yourself, at the end, your body will force you to listen. And that's also the same time where I finally broke up with my toxic ex-boyfriend. Welcome back to Heal with Emmy. I am your healing bestie, and this podcast is for you who want to heal, who wants a life of abundance, and for you who just stands out of the normal crowd. For you who knows that there are way more to life than what most people actually think. I might step on someone's toes in this episode, but it's about time that I give some straight up radical opinions on this show. Because I might be caring, accepting, loving, and understanding, but I would take the whole purpose out of my podcast if I don't push your beliefs and make you reflect on how you're seeing the world currently. First of all, if you truly do have a diagnosis and it's the only and the best way for you, and the most suitable way, I completely accept that and I even respect it. But if you ask me, I do see a trend in this Western culture where it's like almost everyone are almost kind of horny to get a diagnosis. It's like, oh, I have stress. Oh, I'm on antidepressant drugs. Oh, I can't do this because of my diagnosis and XYZ. Sorry to say it, actually not, because it's a fact, but in nature, the weakest get eaten. That's a fact. Understand it. Again, if you do truly have a diagnosis, it's completely fair, but you are not your diagnosis, so don't let it control you. Do not make yourself an offer for your diagnosis. The only reason you have a diagnosis is because of yourself. You're not listening to your needs. You're not taking care of yourself. You're spending way too much time scrolling on your iPhone or whatever, and less time walking in nature, eating healthy, spending time with the people you love. Like truly spending time with them. You think you also have to stay online all the time? Well, guess what? You don't. I have a podcast on multiple channels. I have a YouTube channel. And I manage to post content every now and then on my Instagram channel and my TikTok channel without even ever logging in. My average daily screen time on a week is 47 minutes. And I'm happier than ever. I'm more healthy than ever because I have so much time to focus on and living in my alignment with my purpose on earth and my goals here in life. I get so rarely sick, and when I do get sick, I barely actually get sick because my immune system is so strong that it doesn't really affect me. And all that is thanks to living consciously. In Ayurveda, it's even believed that asthma and allergies are caused by imbalances in our mind-body system. And I even myself actually have allergies, so I'm no saint. I got allergies, my first allergies when I was 10, and I'm allergic to different kind of nuts and pollen. But I must admit that over the past few years where I have become way more conscious and way more healthy and way more like truly believing in myself and truly believing that the world I want to live in, it's my power to create it. And now when I also have started my Ayurvedic life and studying it, I just see that my allergies are, or like my reactions to my allergies are barely none. So I actually have seen a huge difference. But again, I'm no saint. So I'm not telling you to give up your doctors in the normal medical system and modernized medication. I even myself gladly take painkillers when I have too big of a headache or somewhere in my body that just hurts too much to come through the day. And I still also go to my doctors every now and then when I need to have something checked. Modernized medicine can help us a lot, and is also one of the reasons that we do live so long nowadays. But I just recommend you not only to depend on that. Because if you are consciously living and if you are conscious about yourself and your health, you will just be so much more healthy. And that's actually the whole point of Ayurveda, to prevent even ever getting sick by living healthy. And living healthy is not boring. It just depends on the view. Living healthy is a gift you can give to yourself, because we might live long, but the way society is going with their health, all this fast food, all this scrolling, less moving your body around, that will make you live less. There might be medicine enough to make you live a certain amount of time, but if you don't take care of yourself, either your mental or your physical body will kill itself at some point. And what I dislike, for example, about modernized medicine and modernized medication and doctors is that they only see the symptom, they don't see the whole human coming in. So, for example, if you come in and you tick off all the boxes for anxiety and stress, the doctor will gladly give you the diagnosis, medicate you, and done. But maybe you're just 13. Maybe your parents are getting divorced. Maybe you're being bullied in school and the boy that you like don't like you back. Maybe that's all there is. And that might not need medication, because that's a normal phase of life to go through. Is it tough? Yes, for sure it is. I have been through all of them, but it's a part of life. And by living consciously and taking care of our health through food and mental health and movement, we can come really, really far. Or maybe you're 34 and you just got fired from the first job you ever got after you finished your university. You found out the day before that the guy that you married 4 years ago is also cheating. And you are eating fast food every day because you are too tired, you're too burned out, and you're too stressed because of your society life to even cook food for yourself. Because you wake up, you work more, you eat fast food at your desk, you go home, you do chores, you sleep, and you repeat. I'm even getting stressed by just saying it out loud. So if that's you, I can't imagine how you're feeling. And once again, in this situation, medication and a diagnosis might not help you that much. Maybe what will actually give you the help that you need, and the one that will actually be the page turner in your whole life and in your whole point of view of life and on the world, will be you clocking out time to work out at least just a few times every week. Walk in nature, spend time with your loved ones, be aware of what you are eating and how you are eating, and spending time on yourself. Really clock that time off, because you're human, you're not a robot. And something I want to add from Ayurveda is that there is a huge difference on how you eat, and it will make a huge difference. For example, you can be eating a fast food burger with completely awareness of what you're eating, and you have it in your hands and you're smelling it, and you're not doing anything else but eating the burger at a table, maybe with some people around you. The table is nice and clean, maybe there's flowers, maybe there's candles, maybe there's something, or you're sitting down in a restaurant, but you're completely aware and into what you're eating. You actually might get more nutrition from this burger, and your body might be better off with that burger versus you sitting in the couch watching Netflix and eating a raw salad, because you won't pay attention to what you're actually eating, and so will your body either. And that's just super important to remember, because that's actually also living healthy, eating healthy. Eating healthy is also just being aware of what you're eating. That doesn't mean boring cooked broccoli or raw salad that doesn't taste of nothing. One thing that can be a huge step also, if you're like struggling with overweight, just start being aware of what you're eating. Like, only eat. Even I, when I started my whole self-development journey a few years ago, I would, for example, journal or read while I was eating breakfast, and I thought, hey, that's so smart, and I use my brain, I get food, blah blah blah. But then I started my Ayurvedic journey and I learned this, and that was such a big surprise for me as well. And I have felt how big of a difference that is, because I have become way more relaxed with what I eat. I also eat burgers sometimes, but I eat it with complete respect and awareness of what I eat, and I enjoy it. And then it still gives me the nutrition that I might need this day. So my point is, maybe you don't need a diagnosis. Maybe you just need to prioritize yourself and your health. Even working on your mental health through, for example, journaling or meditating, or just saying a few nice words and affirmations to yourself in the mirror every morning and every evening, or just whenever you remember, and voila, 3 months later, you will feel so much better. You will feel more beautiful, and you will even look more beautiful. And that might be because of physical changes, but it definitely for sure will be because you have changed inside. That you have changed your whole bucket of life energy. You have just poured in it, and now you are shining like a star. For example, I can say it for me that an example to give you from my life is I use like makeup 3 times a year or so. And in all these 3 video podcasts you have seen, I haven't worn any kind of makeup in none of them. And my most content, I don't wear makeup. You will also know that if you see some of my content, I have explained about it. When I walk in the street, even when I go out for dinner, I barely wear makeup, and I actually also rarely wear makeup. With that said, it's not that one thing is excluding the other, it's just how I feel. But what I want to add is that even years ago when I used a lot of makeup versus now, there's a lot more people, both men and women, complimenting me for my looks, asking me out, coming up and talking to me. And I also personally look in the mirror and feel much more beautiful, and I wear zero makeup. And I every now and then still have burst outs from my skin. But I still feel better because I feel better from the inside, and that changes my shine to my world and in my skin and in my body. And it also changes physically because the better I feel, the more drawn to making better choices I will be. Mentally, the better we feel, the more drawn we will be to make the better choice. For example, cook at home or eat more healthy or move my body. I am more drawn to do that because I feel truly good. Also, in Ayurveda, as I said before, the point is to live healthy to prevent illnesses from even coming. Of course, you can also treat illnesses with Ayurveda, actually, but the starting point is to actually prevent it from even happening. Because the difference between modernized medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, or Ayurveda in general, is actually that Ayurveda can pick up an upcoming illness like 3 times before modernized medicine can, because modernized medicine can't pick up anything before it's actually there. Modernized medicine can measure when you do have a heart attack, or when you did have a heart attack, or when you have cancer. They can see it and they can treat it. But Ayurveda can see that even before it's happening. So you have the chance through Ayurveda to stay healthy, because you will start seeing the signs in your body when you start like having imbalances. So you first start having imbalances, and if you do not treat them, at some point they will manifest somewhere in your body, and that will start creating some kind of cancer types. I'm not saying it goes for all cancer types, it doesn't, but it goes for some cancer types, which I think also just is a huge example of what it means to live Ayurvedically, what it means to live healthy, what it means to just take care of yourself, to truly believe that you deserve a nice life and you deserve to treat yourself well. How much that can save your life, how much you can go from being only 56 to maybe turning 100 or even more. So you will have with Ayurveda a chance to rebalance your imbalances before they even manifest into illnesses. And that's also why I am almost never ill. Because I feel, okay, Emmy, I have worked too much now, and this will cause that I might get a flu, or this will cause that some other things will happen. I will be more tired, and I will be more I will have bigger risk to stumble and, break my wrist or something. Because when my mind is tired, my body is tired, and vice versa. That's how we work. That's just an example, but I think you get the point. But with Ayurvedic knowledge, you can actually be the healthy person that you deserve to be. So let me tell you about my cancer back in summer 2021, because I want to be honest with you, and if I'm going to make statements like that, I want to show you that I have good reasons to make these statements. I believe that my cancer actually came to me because I was not listening to myself. I honestly truly believe that. It came one night from the other. I was celebrating my friend's graduation Friday night, and Saturday morning when I woke up, I had the biggest pain in my groin area, and I didn't understand why, and I could barely stand up. So when I finally walk out and take my everyday morning shower, I look down and I literally have a golf ball in my groin area. And I'm like, what has happened here? So one thing takes the other. I come through a cancer package. The doctors are scared that it's cancer, and I went through a CT scan, and they scanned this in my groin. They scanned my node in my groin area and decide to that I need to get it out with the surgery. So I get this surgery, and I go through a long hospital package of 6 months, more or less, where I go to checkups and surgeries and so on. Luckily enough, the note when I finally do get the answer is benign, so I never had to go through chemo. I was really lucky and just got away with a scare. But it anyway definitely made me think. These things, when you go through these gray areas where I had my surgery to when I finally got the answer, because it was in summertime, so in Denmark that takes 1 month to get an answer if you have cancer or not, which was a very long month for me. And even though I got really lucky in this gray area of time, you can't help but reflect. Like, you can't stop this reflection. It just keeps coming. And honestly, I had times where I felt, I got hit by a lightning, woof, and then something new came to me. Answers to questions that I didn't even know that I was asking, because I wasn't listening to myself at all. I had, for more than 6 months at this point, deep down, known that I should go from my boyfriend. I should leave him because he wasn't good for me. But I was too afraid to leave. And also, he had manipulated me to stay. But that's another conversation. The point of this is that I was not truly listening to myself. And I would rather stay in a shitty relationship and say goodbye to my happiness than risking my happiness, but truly figure out who I am and what happiness truly is for me by leaving. Anyway, I finally left. And I truly do think that it came because of me not listening to myself. Not only about him, a lot about him. He was definitely the overweight, but also because I was working at law offices, which I liked. I found it really fun, and it was a good experiences for me. But I have always had this deep calling that I was meant for more. I was meant to live a life that's outside society's frames and walls. And I wanted to travel, and I wanted to live from being me. And I think I was just always too afraid of being that, because I grew up in a society where you are not allowed to think that you are more than anyone else, and you are not allowed to think that you are special and that you have gifts that you should share with the world. But the truth, the actual truth, is that every single human here on earth has specific gifts that we are all meant to share. We are all special, we are all different, and we are that for a reason. We are that to teach each other things and to learn things from each other. No one is different, and that's the beauty. And everyone is good, and everyone is better, and you become better when you finally, accept it and really dig deep into what you are good at, what you are born to do. But yes, to come back in my whole cancer time, as I said, it was awful. And everyone who has gone through like this gray area zone that I call it, that has been either life threatening or something like that, knows the feeling. Because you don't know. I mean, in that time, I was buying, scarves for my head. In my head, I didn't actually buy them, but I was like thinking, oh my God, now I have to be bold. Should I write, letters to people when I die? I was only 20 at this time. So I was like, am I going to die before I'm even 22, or what's going to happen? That's not really nice thoughts when you are 20 and, your life is barely getting started. And for me, my fake life was barely getting started. Fake life, let's call it that. That's the first time I've said it, but it's still a part of my life. But it wasn't what I truly wanted. I was just doing these things to please others, have a normal job, apply for law school, things like that. And this is also when I finally chose to live the life that I want, to live the life that I visualize every day without even asking for it, the life that keeps going as a film behind my eyes. So when we got a little further in my whole hospital thing and I had broken up with my boyfriend in the middle of it, I want to add this just to make a statement for you to understand. He didn't even want to help me put socks on or move me around, because having a surgery in your groin area does make it a bit difficult for you to move around. And he didn't, and the doctors told me not to walk and stand up too much. He still didn't want to cook, he still didn't want to find food, so I was still the one doing it. And I was having a really hard time, and I was actually thinking about, moving to my dad's place in this time, but he didn't allow me. And then one day, I was always afraid of like saying things to him, because he would get like really childish mad, and then I'd have to like apologize, even though that I just wanted to speak my feelings. And then one day, he was, always ignoring me on his computer, not really helping me with anything, not even in my cancer time. And then one day he turns to me and he says, "Do you know how hard it is to have a sick girlfriend?" And my heart stopped there. I never told it to his face, but the first thing I thought immediately after hearing that is, do you know how difficult and hard it is to be the one being sick, the one that might has cancer? How do you think I feel if you have a hard time? He never even said, he never ever said anything about that, just to make you understand what I'm saying when I say that he was toxic. So when all that was over, I finally, in the fall of 2021, decided that now I'm going to take the life that I want. I'm going to go for it. So I started preparing. I was packing down my whole life little by little as I could. And I was planning to start my travels in 2021. No, in 2022. So I slowly started planning, and I managed to plan out that I would work as an au pair in Madrid from January 2022. So when I was good to go from the doctors, I left and I went, and that was where my whole travel started, and how one thing took the other. And I went to Athens and lived for 1.5 years, more than 1.5 years. I became a recruiter that worked remotely for almost 2 years, traveled the whole world. I've been to 5 different continents on just the past year. So that was how one thing took the other. But in the meantime of this whole cancer thing, I said that enough is enough. Finally stop listening to what you want, Emmy. And that's why I plan to travel, because that is what I truly have always wanted. I'm not saying that you want the same thing. I'm just saying what I wanted. And I hope that will inspire you to really listen to what you want, and don't apologize for what you want. Because my issue also was that I didn't travel because I was actually afraid that my boyfriend would not like it and he might break up with me, which is like super ironically, because I should just have broken up with him like from the beginning. But we learn, we get wiser. And I also want to add that thanks to the doctors in this modernized system of medical, they removed my node and they were able to scan it and make a biopsy and figure out if it was benign or not. So yes, still use this medical system that we are so lucky to have nowadays. I am still using it. But just remember that many times imbalances inside of you will be the reason for your suffering. Lucky for you, that means that you also have the power to heal it and balance this suffering, this imbalance. So do not seek out diagnoses. Seek out your own ability to take care of yourself and stay balanced. I literally feel that there have become like some kind of trend that it's cool to have a diagnosis. And imagine just 2 or 3 generations ago, you just have to be a little overweight to be the odd one out, to be a loser and to be bullied or something else. Not to mention what happened to the people that actually had diagnoses. I even know of people who want diagnosis just to get more cons from the society, like money and advantages and other things. I think that's crazy if you ask me. We're supposed to be the most advanced and stronger species on this earth. We live longer than ever. But what I see sometimes is that this population has become more blind and more deaf, even more weak and stupid than ever. And why is that? The answer is very simple if you ask me. You are not aligned with your life purpose. You are not created to spend 3 to 6 hours every day scrolling. You have one of the most advanced brains here on earth, so use it. Learn languages, learn math, explore, take in experiences, speak with strangers, think, reflect. Combine your reflexes and learn a sport. Get really good at moving your body, at cooking, at something. Live, goddammit. Just live and love. Be the human that you are born to be. Now that was all from today. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you felt heard. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and find me on Instagram on Heal with Emmy to stay part of this conversation. Now all that's left to say is all the love from me to you until next weekend.